Welcome to the Kevin Talks to People podcast. You're here with me in Monsignor McGolrick Park, sitting with Christian Perez. Christian, how are you doing?
I'm great, Kev. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I was a little bit worried because my SD card wasn't formatted when I first got here, but I did a quick format and I figured it out.
Yeah.
Were you stressed?
To be honest, I was scared. I didn't really think it was gonna happen today, I think this is gonna be one of those things where like, oh damn, we should have done a podcast, and it just never happens.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we held out and you got through it. It was nice seeing you, really work for it.
Yeah, I'm very technical, and I'm crafty.
I can see.
I work quick on my feet,
Yep.
so
Formatting
it's good.
a lot.
So you don't normally go by Christian,
Nope.
as far as I call you. What's your name normally? And let's explain the
that?
breakdown there. Yeah.
So my nickname and my name normally, as Kevin said, is Cap, C-A-P. Those are my initials. So when I was born, my mother had a Hotmail account, and her email address was Ellie Cap. Her name was Ellie, and her last name was Cap. And so in the 5th grade, my mom also used to label all my stuff. She would put my initials on everything. She was crazy. And everyone would be like, Cap, Cap, Cap. And it's like me. So then it just kind of stuck. And then it's followed me forever. And now I'm 26. And that is like what I go by.
You're 26?
Allegedly.
Cap is 26. That's nice.
Apparently.
I'm also 26 now.
No, you're not.
I am 26.
That's not true.
I turned 26 at the beginning
You're
of
like
this month.
still 23.
No, it's not true at all. I'm
Yeah.
actually a 26-year-old human,
You're not.
and I'm doing this. Can you believe it, huh?
I
Can you
can't.
believe it?
That's why.
So why are you in town? Why I haven't seen you in so long. When's the last time I saw you?
Last time I saw you was February of this year, maybe.
February?
I was blonde, probably.
Yeah, it's a while.
Was I
so-
blonde?
What?
Was I blonde?
Blonde? Maybe blonde tips.
Tips, blonde
I don't
tips.
know. I don't know if
I
the
never
whole.
had blonde tips.
I don't think the whole thing was blonde. Maybe it had grown in a
so
little
you
bit at that
hallucinated
point.
me.
It must have been at least eight to 9 months.
Yeah.
As far as I
Around
can
that
tell.
time, yeah.
Where have you been?
I've been in Miami, Florida.
Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
A wonderful town.
Some say.
Who's from there? Outside of you.
Yes, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, right?
The Rock is from Miami.
I think so. Or
Wow.
he played for UM.
Okay,
One of the two.
that's cool.
No, I think he's from Hawaii, actually.
Yeah, I think he's from. Well,
I don't want his fan base to come for me.
yeah, neither do I, and I don't
Yeah, I don't
want
want
to
that
make
heat.
this
No,
racially
no.
implicated.
Sorry, guys.
Anyway, it's okay.
Pitbull.
Pitbull's definitely from there.
Yeah. You
That
know, I
one's
share
certified.
initials with him.
You share industries?
Initials.
Initials.
He's also Cap.
Pitbull's Cap?
Yep. His name is Christian Antonio Perez. Like, he's literally the same name,
Oh.
basically.
He's got the same exact name as you.
Mhm.
So
I went back for him.
wow, you're basically Pitbull.
That's what a lot of people say, and I just let them talk, but not all of it's true.
You could be Pitbull, but you can never be Mr. Worldwide.
Well, yeah, because normally I just stay in one place, even though I crave travel.
Yeah, I mean, you
Just
move around a
happens.
bit. You moved down to Miami, and then now you're here, and
Yep.
that's all over the place.
Basically,
Why were you up here in the first place? Because you went to school in Miami in the first place, right?
yeah, I went to school in Miami. I grew up in Miami my whole life,
Yeah.
and I wanted to move to New York, but I decided to go to state school because everyone I knew was going to state school, and
It's a big thing.
I was scared to be by myself and to be in a big city, and then I told myself I'd go for grad school, and then COVID happened, and then I applied to grad school at Fordham, got in. That's where I met you, and that's how I started my journey in New York.
It's
And
true.
then I stayed here for like 4 years.
Yeah, we went to grad school together. We're both masters of media,
Yeah.
as you can tell by what's going on here.
26 and 23. It's so crazy we've done it so young.
I'm not 23. 3 years ago I was.
Sure.
Okay, whatever.
He
Whatever
just- he just
you
drank.
can, whatever your perception of me is, that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's how I came here.
Yeah, that's how you came here, and it was a pretty good time for a while.
A lot of fun.
I mean, school was fun. I made a podcast for school one time. What was your capstone project? Because you're Cap, and you
Yeah.
had to do a capstone.
So actually
So
about
the
a podcast
project should have
too.
just been you. You did a podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
My podcast, Jesus Christ, what was it about? Oh my God, it was called Fridays.
Mm.
And it was essentially my capstone project was me trying to revamp the podcast I started for fun, like giving it a brand refresh, like as if I were like, I don't know, like something were to make a comeback. I like redid the whole thing. I changed up the whole concept, which I think the show was just literally like low key like Kevin talks to friends. Like
Hey, it's Kevin talks to people.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
They don't have to be my friends. They could be my enemies. To be
That's
determined
why I'm
what
on
you
here.
are.
I guess we'll find out at the end of the episode.
Yeah, exactly.
One of us dies. But
No.
no.
Maybe.
Maybe this is actually a true crime podcast. The first 5 episodes of this podcast are actually a prelude to a murder podcast because someone dies at the end of the 5 episodes. You have to watch all 5.
You have to watch all 5 to figure out who dies. Maybe it's Kevin. Maybe it's one of the people.
Yeah. And it can happen at any time. Like episode 4 and 5 will still continue if the person dies on episode 3.
Yeah, somebody else named Kevin will just take over.
Yeah,
The thing about this is that it could be any Kevin.
That's kind of the setup, and that's
Yeah.
why I was really excited to be on here because I've never seen anyone do it like this. Like, really take it this far. I think it's gonna change things.
What do you mean by take it this far?
Like, I think that people will assume it's one thing, but it will go so completely in another direction that it will make waves.
Yeah, it's pretty much anything.
Anything. Yeah.
I talked about this with Ed on the first podcast. If anybody wants to tune into my episode with Eddie Barron, but we discussed the concept of everything being nothing. And this is a bit of an everything podcast, so it's also a bit of a nothing podcast.
That's why the stakes are so low, but also so high at the same time.
They're extreme. They're extremely high.
Because at any moment we could either shatter our reality or just further sleep.
Exactly. And this is pretty much all I have. But at the same time, that just means I have nothing at all.
But that also means you have everything.
Exactly, right? So it's
I'm
all
glad I
about
get to share
fun
everything.
in the middle. I like that sweater.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I thrifted it.
You thrifted that.
You know, I had a feeling. I was like, Kevin will say something about the sweater.
Dude, that's a fire sweater. You know I'm a sucker for a good sweater.
I know. That's why I was like, you'll say something about the sweater.
Yeah, it's like part of my brand. It's just
It's
sweaters.
like telling people, nice sweater. And then they're like, thanks. And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
and then you like kind of go home and you're like,
Hell
dude,
yeah.
I'll keep doing that.
And
Feels
when
good.
you're wearing a nice sweater and somebody says it to you, you're like, dude, let's fucking go.
Dude, yeah,
Because like I'm so cozy, but also fashionable. I
Yeah.
like it because they're cozy but fashionable.
Well, that's the whole bit, right? Is that when you're wearing a sweater, it's my favorite thing is I like to do this sometimes with my sleeves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is like when
Sort
I'm.
of for the audio listeners, just sort of pull them up over your fingers a bit. Yeah.
Can you, I don't know
There
if
you
you can
go.
hear that, but this is the sound of luxury.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
it is like soccer moms at practice watching their kids like having a cup of coffee like very early in some suburban town. But then the best part is that if you just roll them down, now I'm like business casual in the 90s.
Yeah.
And now I'm like ready to have a Corona and maybe a steak.
Yeah.
And then I could just pull them back to regular length and then I'm just at the park.
Yeah, then you're just like a guy.
Exactly. And then I'm just a guy. So you really can do so much. I think sweaters are like an embodiment of this show in a way. It's like everything. But
It's
also
like
nothing.
top 3 most versatile clothing,
Yeah.
probably, because like you can wear it in warm weather. Well, not really,
Not
but
really.
a sweater vest perhaps.
I would still wear it in warm weather, but because I'm brave.
I have. Yeah, I have.
You have?
And I don't get too sweaty generally. I'm not a very sweaty. Well, so actually I am kind of sweaty, but it all comes out my feet.
That's very specific.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that like a condition?
I've never like talked to anybody about it. Not like a doctor. Like
A doctor?
I've never talked to a doctor about it.
Has it been worth seeking attention?
No, it's fine. It's just like
But don't you get annoyed?
I do get a little bit annoyed
That
because
like you walk like 2 steps and you're like
yeah,
drenched?
like my socks get moist and then my shoes get a little stinky, but I just have to like stay on top of it.
Yeah, but then it's like you can just be like, I'm a boy.
It's fine. It's better than
Like, boys'
my.
feet smell,
It's
you know
better.
what I'm
Like
saying?
my pits don't really sweat, so it's better than
Yeah.
that. You know, I had
Not
a buddy.
true though.
What?
What happens if you go to someone's apartment and they're like no shoes? Then
Oh.
that your life fucking changes.
It's tough, but I
Then fight or
generally
flight
just
kicks
like
in.
I just don't like tell anybody, and then
So then
I
everyone's like,
leave
it smells
little.
like shit.
I just leave little puddles across
so
the
everyone
floor.
in the room is like, it smells like shit, and you're there like,
No, I don't wear the stinky shoes out and about. I make sure to wear my non-stinky
Okay, but
shoes.
if you
and I've
are
got
sweat-
like a little like squirt a little powder. You could use a little Gold Bond medicated powder.
do you carry that
That'll help.
around with you? Is what I'm saying. Like, let's say you're
Nah,
out
put
and
it in my
about.
shoes before I leave the house.
Okay, but if you go around town and your feet get sweaty, and then you like stop by someone's apartment and you take off your shoes, you do not have an option.
Yeah,
It's stank.
it's not that noticeable.
Okay.
At least nobody's ever brought it up to me.
Yeah.
But I feel the moistness for sure.
Yeah, you feel it.
I can feel it, and it's uncomfortable, especially because it'll be really warm, and then if it's cool and moist, gets cold really fast.
Yeah.
And once like your extremities get cold, like I have really cold hands as well.
Yeah.
I just have poor circulation. I think that's part of the
Me
reason
too.
my feet get so sweaty.
Yeah.
Once your extremities go, like everything's cooked.
Everything's done.
Yeah, everything's cooked pretty much.
Do you think well, you seem not to be too concerned about that condition of yours that may or may not just be a condition. Do you think it affects social interactions?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
That's good.
I don't think about it most of the time.
That's amazing.
Well, I've been living with it for so long now.
Yeah.
So
It's like
I've learned to
low-grade
adapt.
anxiety.
it's like very low grade
It's
anxiety.
like normalized, so it's just like what?
Well, yeah, I mean,
You know what?
everybody is probably like sweating from somewhere,
Somewhere.
right?
Yeah.
You know, I had a buddy who had very sweaty pits, like very sweaty.
I'm sorry to hear that.
His shirts would get like wet and shit.
That's
So he actually got Botox on his
That's
pits
the thing.
to like stop them from sweating so much.
Yeah.
And he did that and it worked. But then all the sweat started coming out his hands, and he got the sweatiest hands. And then after a few months, it just went back to normal.
So it really has to come from someplace.
The sweat has to come out one way or
Yeah.
another, because like your body's got that moisture, I guess.
If not your foot, then where?
If not my foot, like where would my preferred sweat place be? Maybe like my knees. I don't know. The back of the knee, no. But if I could get sweat out the front of the knee, that would be cool.
Sweat at the front of these was just like, just weirdly leave a stain like on every pant you have.
Maybe just like one fingertip.
like that worth,
If I could just be like, just dripping.
like a nipple.
No nipples. I don't
No,
want sweaty
no
nipples,
nipple.
bro. Just I don't think nipples even sweat. Are there?
Yeah.
I don't think there's sweat glands in the nipples.
Thank God.
All right, let's get away from sweat. Let's get away from sweat. What have you been doing down in Miami?
Loaded question. I work as a server now.
Okay.
Working a part time. I've been interviewing for jobs. I want to move back here.
Yeah.
So I've been focusing on making music and really getting into I
Yeah.
want to say like just more of a comfortable state of being myself and making my own decisions.
That's valid.
I
I really want to talk about Game Boy Summer.
I think we should.
To what I can tell, that's what you're doing down in Miami.
Yeah.
Just being gameboyCAP.
Being
gameboyCAP.
My pop star persona.
Do you just love Game Boys?
I love games.
Yeah.
Well,
Games. I like games.
I love games so much, and I also just love. I just love like boy. Like the word boy is like so fun for me to say and to own. I think it's like such a playful aspect of me that is like I get to kind of express with no shame through music or something. And I feel like Game Boy is just like the perfect way to describe like how I feel inside. Like it's just like I don't know. I'm like Gertie Giggles. Like I just like I'm cheesing. Like I'm always having fun.
Yeah.
Truly in my depths.
I think it's a pretty sweet artist name.
Thank you.
gameboyCAP.
It's fun.
It's funny.
I couldn't just go by Cap because I always said I would go by Cap, but I don't know. When I was listening to a lot of Playboy Cardi, and I was like, what would I be? Like a Game Boy Cap, like Playboy Cardi, like that sounds lit. And also I'm obsessed with like Playboy, like any kind of like Playboy, like memorabilia or like anything related to like Hugh Hefner's journey. Like I'm really obsessed with like that visual, and I love also the name Playboy. But then I was like, I'm not a Playboy, like, and that's not my whole thing. And I think Game Boy kind of encaptured me a little bit more.
Yeah, more of a gamer than a player.
I'll say both. I say like the playing is behind the scenes, but I like to be more. You'll get this version of me because it's for everyone
That's solid.
and nicer
Yeah,
to deal with.
it is nicer. I mean, you don't want to market yourself as Playboy.
Exactly. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not that.
How would you
Not-
describe your genre? Of gameboyCAP music.
Pop. I say pop because pop is my favorite genre of
Yeah.
all time, and like I want to be a pop artist. But so much of what I'm learning, also it's like that was the first thing I ever done, and like I've never done music in my years of living. You know, full 26, and I've always wanted to do it. It was one of those things that I was scared to do, blah, 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 what people thought, blah, blah, blah. And so part of what I'm doing now, part of what I was doing in the mixtape is to find my sound. So I've been experimenting with everything. I love the way that the industry is set up now where like I've been exposed to so many like artists that are doing cross genres. I don't know if you listened to Tyler's last album, but like he's of course like a super great example of like
For sure.
you can have like honking as like a bass on
Honking.
a fucking track, and like everyone be like yeah, and like it's anyone can do whatever. Like y'all listen to a Bjork song, like y'all listen to like clink clank music, like it's coming, it's on the come up. But that's kind of it. I would say pop.
It definitely sounds like pop. I like I like Sinister.
Thanks.
That's my personal favorite
It's the
track
most poppy
off
one
the
I've done.
the Game Boy mixtape, Game Boy Summer mixtape.
Yeah.
Where can people stream it?
People can stream it on Spotify, Apple Music, and SoundCloud.
You're on Spotify now?
Yeah, I'm on Spotify.
Shit, I gotta save that.
Yeah, download it and all. I have a new single called "Break My Heart." It's my play on an '80s pop synth track that I just had so much fun with.
All right, I'm gonna play a little snippet of it right now.
Right now.
All right, that was it.
Okay, cool.
All right, it was quick.
That's
Just
really
quick,
cool. Yeah,
but
it's
I
really,
just
really
wanted to
quick.
teach
Yeah,
people a
that's
little
cool.
bit. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
Thanks.
No, it's solid. I mean, what are you making these on? Because before you left, I'd be hanging out at your apartment, flipping through your Playboy magazines.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, fantastic. And you'd be kind of like pressing buttons on this little thing that you had, and
Yeah.
it makes sounds. Are you still just making everything on that little?
So funny you ask. I actually got that and a bunch of other things stolen from me recently.
Oh no!
Yes, horrible.
Bad crime down in Miami.
Yeah, well, it's just our bad fucking luck. But
Ah,
I used a MIDI keyboard, which is essentially like a miniature keyboard that just like you plug into your computer with like a DAW or like a program that like you play and it makes beats.
Yeah.
And then I used that a microphone I got on Amazon that was like $60. And I had my laptop but I got all that stolen from me recently. But that's what I used to make the mixtape. And so
dang.
when I made the mixtape, I was super happy because it's like definitely like Fisher Price, like Baby's first like anything done. Like I listen to it now and I'm like, that was adorable. That like the levels are all off. Like I can hear things that I'm like, this kid is insanely like, I respect him, but like it's just like it's so funny how like
kind of just doing whatever.
Yeah, just doing whatever. But I literally just like fucked around and found out. Like that's just essentially what I've been doing and using the most minimal stuff. And then once I got my shit stolen, I thought I was doing the least.
Mm-hmm.
And then now I'm recording songs on this app called BandLab on my phone. I'm using Apple wired headphones.
Nice.
I saw a TikTok of some guy talking to this producer, Benny Blanco, who's just named People's Sexiest Man Alive. It's a whole thing.
What?
Yeah.
John Krasinski was named People's Sexiest Man
I think they're
Alive.
doing 2 this year.
What?
I think he was the funny one. Like they were like, got ya.
Oh, there's a funny, sexy one now.
I don't think so. Don't quote me on that.
He's pretty ugly.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, don't quote me on that.
But he's dating Selena Gomez.
Yeah, well.
Are they still together?
Yes.
I think they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are. But yeah, he was talking to him about it.
Good for him, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's good. She's in Amelia Perez. Have you heard of that new movie?
No.
It's supposed to be like a like an insane musical about a transgender cartel woman.
What?
And it's supposed to be like really it's supposed to be insane. Like you'll hear about it at the Oscars.
That was an interesting string of words.
Yeah. Sorry, I got off tangent.
No,
But
it's okay. That's the whole point of what we do here.
exactly. But
Yeah.
anyways, this guy was talking to Benny Blanco about how he got a song, and I don't know who he is, and if you probably might know him because I don't know who he is, but he went viral on TikTok before using this app called BandLab, where he literally just got a beat off YouTube,
Yeah.
converted it, put it on BandLab, and then like recorded like 2 things over it on his phone, and it became like an insanely streamed song. And I was like, why don't I just fucking do that? And so I've been doing that, and it's honestly like simplified the fuck out of making music for me, where it's been like, I don't know, I've made it this like, whoa, like my whole life is riding on this shit right now.
Mm.
And so now it's like I get to do it like I call them like lullabies. Like I just have an idea. Like it could literally be like a song about like letting it rip, and I'll just like record it for fun, just so I could train my brain to start making music like
And then
instantly.
you just go like, let it rip.
Yeah, well,
Let
I
it
do a
rip.
melody. I do a melody off the beat. So like I go off YouTube and then I type like a bunch of different like beats and then I just sift through them, and then if something comes to me, I'm like, and I kind of just go crazy on the mic, and then I just kind of filter through to see what my subconscious is saying. And sometimes it's really fucking stupid,
Okay.
or it doesn't make sense.
And then would you refine it a bit?
Yeah,
A
then
little
it's
bit,
like carving it
yeah.
out on a
Yeah,
sculpture.
it's chisel.
You're chiseling, you're getting to the core.
No, the
because-
statue's already in there.
Yep, you just gotta get to the.
Yeah, you just have to find it, right?
Yeah, I guess that's
What's
art.
that? Is that Da Vinci?
I don't know.
No, that's one of the other. Michelangelo. That's Michelangelo.
Yeah, that's the guy who did the
David?
ceiling.
The ceiling?
Sistine Chapel?
Yeah, Michelangelo did the Sistine Chapel.
Oh, dude, I know something.
Did he do David? Or
I do David?
no, the statue David.
Yeah.
You know the
maybe?
famous statue?
I think so.
I think there's a quote where it's like, the statue was already in the marble. I was just getting it out of the marble.
I think the statue was like, it's there.
He was already there. He was
Yeah.
begging to come out. So
And
that's
that's
the way
literally-
that a
yeah.
lot of your songs come into fruition, is that they already exist. They're just begging for you to make them
Yeah.
recorded.
It's funny how they like manifest as like songs like that, but it's really like that. It's like we're pulling stuff from the ether that, and you're just making it manifest. It's like that's literally, I think, like anything that we create, from like the dumbest shit to like the coolest shit, or like I don't know.
That is anything we create. So I've been playing with this concept of there are no original ideas, because everything is the same idea, but it's just like whatever version you record of it is the version that you created. But that doesn't make it any different from somebody else's idea. It's just the one that you put down.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes complete sense, because if you think about it, I feel like everyone always has to say something like, this sounds like this looks like this. And it's like, yeah, no shit, because it comes from something. It's like, that's how art and things progress, is that we pass it down to each other like information, like in literal like survival, like Darwinian codes that like we're like, this is how you get to do this, and people like low key without even realizing it do that. Whether it's fashion, a trend, trends are literally like that manifest. So it's like someone out there that's a trendsetter was influenced by someone else who was a trendsetter.
Yeah, and then
as
they
we
influence
all
someone
are,
else.
and then you pass it down. So that's why like it's for the people with art and stuff, that like you can view it as like there's not an original idea, or you could view it as there is none, because there really isn't.
There isn't.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're all original ideas.
Yeah. I do think that there's people that kind of like become the catalyst for a new thread of some sort.
Yeah.
And they're always like martyrs.
Mhm.
Like they're always like maybe two people that ride for them, and then everyone else is like, that's weird.
Yeah.
That's horrible. And then they get like crucified
Yeah.
for whatever like lane that they kind of set up. But
Exactly.
then 50 fucking years later, and everyone's like, yup,
Yeah, that's what's happening here. Everybody's going to see.
how? Oh, with the podcast.
They're going to crucify me for this.
I'm one.
I guarantee you.
I'm the two of them that will stand by you.
Yeah, you and Eddie Barron, my first 2 episodes.
Yeah. And listen, I know I'm on the show, but I don't have a personal stake in
Everybody
this.
from this point on is going to be like, this isn't a podcast. This is just you talking to people. That's the
excited?
name. That's the name.
You're excited to deal with haters?
No.
Have you
No.
dealt with them before?
No, I don't deal with hate very well.
Really?
No, I mean, nobody's ever, like, replied with hate comments on my triangle videos or my fruit reviews.
I was just gonna say,
'Cause
like
they're,
anyone
like-
that like is upset with triangles.
Why, how could you be upset by that?
There's a lot of people in the world, Kevin.
Yeah, I know, but actually, I've gotten some hate over my pronunciation of words. Sometimes the words come out of my mouth too fast, or sometimes I just don't know how to say something. So there was a triangle called Fidelity Triangle. I don't know how I was saying it. I think I was saying it Fidelity.
Yeah.
Is it Fidelity?
No, it's fidelity.
Fidelity.
Yeah.
Fidelity.
Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody commented that I was saying it wrong. It's like, it's Fidelity. I'm like,
People, Kevin.
I feel like as long as you understood the word that I was trying to say, that's kind of all that matters in language for the most part.
People just always have something to say.
Yeah.
So like, don't let them get you down, bro.
Well, it's like Kevin from The Office. Kevin from The Office, big inspiration. It's why
Kevin
use
again?
big word when small word do trick.
You get-
As long as you're communicating, then you're communicating at the end of the day, right?
I think simplicity is key. Actually, I think
Obviously, in an academic setting,
in any setting, in
things
my
can be
opinion.
different. Well, in an academic setting, you need to be a bit more formal and do things according to the book.
Yeah.
But who wrote the book?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But even in that vein, even when you are teaching like something that's advanced or high level, it's the process of teaching it that is the most important, right? So it's like that
Absolutely.
in itself should be simple.
Yeah.
Simplicity is key. Like I think so much of why we think that we need to be like either more formal or more than is just ego.
Yeah.
It's just like we want to flex like some kind of like thing that we know over someone else instead of being like, this is how I want you to understand me. Like I'm
Yeah.
not talking just to talk. Like I want you to understand the concepts. I want you to pick up what I'm putting down.
Exactly.
The only way you can do that is if I fucking lay it up for you correctly.
Yeah.
If I'm out here like braggadocious, bedelious, and like you're not gonna know shit.
Well, you can lay it out differently for different people as well.
That's also true.
You know,
can
so
just match people where they're at.
To some degree, it's knowing your audience.
Yeah.
Um,
Effective communication.
if I were to go to the deep south in Louisiana and talk to somebody,
You would thrive there.
well, I might thrive there, but they might be communicating in a way I don't understand. So they'll be like, you pop down to the word,
Well, that's just like
and somebody might understand
Inaudible.
that sentence.
just inaudible.
Well, I don't know how to speak like that, so I can't really use that as an example, but I think you're picking up
Are you flexing that
my
you
example.
pronunciate really well?
No, I don't pronunciate well. I pronunciate differently from people in different places.
How so?
Have you ever seen somebody from Louisiana like talk like from the bayou? A swamp person.
Okay, yes.
Watch swamp people
Some people.
because they talk differently, but they all can communicate with each other seamlessly because that's how they all talk.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
in theory, okay, that I get what you mean now. Like, you're not isolating yourself to be like, I'm someone that speaks differently than everyone else. Like, it's just a fact. Like as in I do as well.
I don't speak better than anyone else.
Yeah, I don't think that you were bragging.
No,
No.
but I do speak differently.
How? How do you think you?
Well,
how do you-
everybody speaks
How
differently.
do you view yourself as?
A
like-
speaker?
Yeah, like how you view the way that you speak.
Very plain.
Really?
I think I speak very plainly when I'm just talking naturally.
Mhm.
I also think my tone is a little bit flat. I don't think I express too much.
That's
You
so
disagree
lame.
with that?
Yeah, I think you have a really good. You have a good. You speak at a low octave,
Yeah.
and like you have there's a vibration. There's like a ting
Yeah.
in what you say, and I feel like
Okay.
that is something that scratches ears in terms of content creators.
Some
'Cause
could
it's
say
like
it's good for podcasting.
that's why I'm one of 2 investors in this.
2 investors, dude. You got the early investment.
Yeah, dude. I see the vision. That's why.
Yeah, I don't think I speak anything special. I do. You know about code switching?
Yeah, like just completely like Jekyll and Hyde, right?
Yeah, I guess so. In my mind, it's kind of like
Oh, like situational.
it's
like if you're talking to
situationally. You
someone
speak
else.
differently depending on who you're talking to,
Yeah.
and I definitely do slip into that a little bit.
Everyone does.
Like if I'm in the South, in Texas, and I actually got this from my dad because my dad would go on like business calls to Texas, and then he'd call us on the phone to like say hi, and he'd be like talking in a Texas accent, just the slightest bit, and it's like, why are you talking like that? And it's just because it's who he's talking to,
Yeah.
and he wants to fit in, and I think it makes people more comfortable with you, but you have to be careful where you do that because other times they'll think you're just like a poser or making fun of them.
Well, yeah.
I think sometimes I go over the top of a little bit. Maybe if you walk into the bodega, I try not to say ak, because that doesn't feel natural coming out of my mouth.
What's Ak mean?
Aki's what you call the bodega
Oh,
guy?
the guy from like the
Yeah.
TikToks, like Aki, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, sometimes I definitely lose a few syllables in certain situations, but you just need to make sure it's coming across genuinely.
I think I mean, code switching is like a very big thing for like immigrants and like for people that deal with like racism because I feel like a lot of people try to acclimate to like I don't know whatever like the majority
That's true.
is.
I can see that.
But it's also like if you think about it, we code switch all the fucking time, even in small ways. Like even if you're in professional setting.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
my biggest thing is like I think I grew up without any code switching to the point of like when I became an adult, I was like I reamed for not code switching or not for like switching, and then I've had to like deprogram that again because it's like I think with me is that around like professional like in my job like I was always using like dude and bruh
Yeah.
because it just comes out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Now I feel like it's very much more like subtle where I'm still speaking the same but like there's something very slight in my brain that's like they're not gonna get you if you say that. It's not like I'm changing anything. It's more just like I'm not gonna speak to you the way I speak to like a 7-year-old journalist who's like visiting a bar that when I was in PR that wanted to cover the bar. Like
Did you say 7-year-old?
70?
Oh, 70.
Yes.
I was imagining a 7-year-old journalist and the kind of stories that they would produce. Probably really good, honestly.
Sure.
Cut a 7-year-old loose on the playground and see what they report.
They'd code switch so hard.
They would code switch.
They would like be like super professional on the field and then go back and be like
Yeah, then you pull up on a baby, you're like goo goo gaga.
the baby he turned 1 second away from the baby and the baby's like and I'm not gonna cover this story. I'm not gonna cover this.
No, the baby's not entertaining enough to keep
Yeah,
going
I guess
with.
not. I
Yeah.
know.
And that's why we're gonna abandon the baby right now.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
What baby?
There's no baby. The baby's in your mind.
There's always a baby
It's
in our
hard to
minds.
code switch up into a professional setting. I feel like is more difficult
Super.
because you need more conscious awareness.
Yeah.
I think when you're code switching down, almost it's like you slip into it, and you need to be aware that you're slipping. But in the other situation, you're not even aware that you're supposed to be doing it differently. I think that's what
I
you
like
were
code
kinda coming
switching.
across.
Now that I think about it, I think it's always been a superpower of mine.
I do think it has a stigma.
of course,
of
but
being
it's all
bad.
about like internal perspective. I feel.
Yeah.
Like you can see something like code switching as like I see it now as like one of my biggest strengths because I've code switched my whole life. Like I went to boys preparatory. I just feel like in my circles, like in my social circles growing up, like I was like a chameleon where I somehow maintained the characteristics that are very true to myself, but a lot was switched just to like for convenience sake. Like whether it was like the dudes I was hanging out with, like the girls that I wanted to hang out with, like just I was always very like smart about the people I was around and what to say and what not to say. But like it kills you when you're a teenager, but then when you're an adult and you kind of have a good sense of self, you can kind of go back to that way of being without sacrificing. Because I think code switching is fucked when you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
If you're like I don't know which one is me, then you're kind of screwed because then you're just like living according to your environment and people around you.
Yeah.
Like you show up here and then I'm all of a sudden a different version of myself, and then you leave and I'm like, who am I?
That's when you can get a bit disrespectful.
Exactly.
With it too.
But you can have fun with it and not make it lame,
Yeah.
and then be like, pull up. The homie be like, and then like be at the office and be like, so page 7. Greg, when were you gonna tell me that you weren't finished? You weren't fucking finished. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can like lay it down.
Aggression towards Greg.
Super.
Greg
He
needs
fucked
to
up.
be better. That's what some are saying.
He just needs positive reinforcement, but sometimes he does need to slap on the wrist. He's been lazy.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, poor Greg. He's trying his best.
Yeah. I've been Greg, but you see, that's why I push him.
No, I understand completely. I had a thought here, and then I just lost it when you went into the Greg thing.
Sorry.
It's just like, I guess you just need like a fully developed brain to...
Frontal lobe, is that what it is?
Yeah.
It develops last for
Yeah.
us?
As a teenager, you have just no idea what's going on.
Are you
for the
excited
most
for
part.
yours to develop?
Mine's been developed for almost a year now.
I thought
and
it starts at 25.
As you can tell, it's going really well. Yeah, I've got a whole new perception of the world.
Really? What is it?
It's the same, man.
Oh.
It's the same.
Damn.
It's
You're
the
just
same
a
as it
liar.
always was.
Just a liar.
I'm a liar, notoriously.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
I feel like you have the potential to be a good
What?
liar. Like even
don't
if you
lie.
weren't, you probably lie.
What are you talking about?
And if you lied, honestly, you'd probably fool me. Because I feel like the way that you talk, because you say you're flat, like in your way, your delivery, I feel like you can give something that is both true and both false the same delivery and make it impossible to decipher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The key is to really say something that's true and false at the same time,
To keep like a little bit of the truth.
depending on the way you look at it. That way you
Yeah.
can't catch me in the lie, because I can pull that piece of truth. I can't think
Yeah.
of an example because I don't know if I actually ever do that. But if anybody's looking for a way to lie, that's probably the best way to do it.
Have you ever had a polygraph test done?
No, I'm terrified of that, actually.
I feel like you would. That's why I asked.
I would have one done?
Like I feel like you have a friend that like has access to one and you did one for fun.
I have some friends who have access to that sort of thing. I would never want to be hooked up to it because I don't know what they would ask me.
But I think like what would be gnarly is that you don't know that you're lying.
Ask me a question, see if I lie.
Do you like the cold?
No,
You're serious.
absolutely correct.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I knew that.
I don't truly believe in the cold.
I got nervous.
I think the cold's a bit in your brain. Sometimes,
Like your fruit allergy?
yeah, like my fruit allergy is just in my brain. But sometimes I'll be walking home on a cold night and I'll be like, ooh, I'm so cold right now. I'm like, oh, this is so miserable. And then I'm like, but it's just how my body feels. And then in my brain, I just relax and I'm like, so you can just set pain aside for the most part if you really want to.
Yeah.
So you can just do that with cold.
Do you do cold showers?
No, well, sometimes, and that's the same sort of situation where it's
That's why
like,
I
this isn't
asked.
really cold. It's just in my brain. I'm telling myself it's cold.
Tolerance.
It's tolerance.
And that's
to
like
some
mental
degree.
fortitude. Because if you think about it, like a lot of the shit that we don't do is because of our brain. Like
Yeah.
we can endure so much more than we think we can. That's why that's when people get like hit by cars and shit and they don't even realize it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just don't know anything that's happening to you. Have you ever seen the video of they basically put a guy's hand like under a blanket or behind a screen, and then they put a fake hand there, and then they kind of like hypnotize the guy, and they're like, this fake hand is actually your real hand, and then they'll stick a needle in his real hand and he won't feel it at all, and then they'll stick a needle in the fake hand and he'll be like, ah, and
I
it's
kind of went like in my mind for like a second.
it's just
on your head.
It's just what his brain told him was happening. He didn't actually even feel anything, right?
Yeah.
Because it was a fake hand, but his brain told him he was feeling that. So there's a lot going on up here that we need to figure out, I think.
A lot. And
Yeah,
I've been
lot.
noticing a lot recently. Like, for me, I've been doing a lot of like meditation and shit.
Oh, nice.
I've been doing breath work because I'm all about like making my parasympathetic nervous system like chill the fuck out. And part of that is like realizing how much of like the physical ailments that I've had are like kind of like anxiety manifests.
Yeah.
Or like when you feel like you can't breathe, you actually can, but it's like it's because you think you can't.
Exactly.
That you can't.
Exactly.
And so you pass. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a self-actualizing thing, and it makes you really understand how fucking insanely powerful our brains are.
Yeah.
And how like 90% of the time, I feel like not 90% of the time. This would just be like me thinking this way, but most people like spend so much time like worried about that when it can literally be like a superpower. You know what I'm
can
saying?
solve a lot of that
Yeah.
just by being present
Present.
in your moment.
Yeah.
I do that by touching things or hearing things.
Do you have ADHD?
Never diagnosed with a doctor, but I have a lot of the symptoms of ADHD.
Yeah.
But I can't say I'm like on medication for it or anything.
Okay.
I'm not on any medication. Everything going on up here is
Nice. All natural.
all natural, which who knows if it would be better off another way, but this is the way it is. So this is the way it'll stay.
All natural, baby.
But yeah, everything's in your brain, just like
Organic.
my fruit allergy.
Organic Kev.
Maybe I can eat fruit, and I just don't want to.
I think that's something you need to unpack because
Maybe I should experiment with
You
it. That would be a
should.
good YouTube video.
I think you need to talk to someone about that because like
A doctor. Kevin talks to a doctor.
Kevin. The spin-offs, the Kevin universe.
There's so many spin-offs of this.
I have the merch already designed.
You got the merch?
The merch design,
Dude,
yeah.
let's go.
You're gonna do
Kevin
hoodies
talks to
first.
people. I'm gonna do what?
Hoodies first.
Hoodies?
Yeah, you're gonna do hoodies.
I'm
first.
down on that. I love a cozy hoodie.
Yeah, exactly.
My second favorite article of clothing behind a sweater.
Really.
Have you noticed people in New York call hoodies sweaters?
No, because I think that's like everyone does that. Because that's like one of those things
Really?
where it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like you don't think about it too hard, so you call it a sweater, and everyone commonly agrees. Like, okay, yeah, here you go. Or there's one person that's like, this isn't a sweater, this is a hoodie, and then that's when they're like, what the fuck?
I had never heard it before until I moved here.
Really?
All my life. I guess 18 years. It was a hoodie, and then I got here and somebody called it a sweater. I'm like, sweatshirt? I call it a sweatshirt or a hoodie, but never a sweater, because a sweater is what you're wearing. It's a different thing.
I also have immigrant parents, so like, I feel like they are one of those people that like, pass me your sweater, and it's a hoodie, and
Yeah.
they're like close enough.
But at the same time, it goes back to communication. You get the point across,
Yeah,
then everything
and that's where.
everything takes care of itself.
And to go full
right?
circle again,
Yeah.
that's where we met in our public communication,
Exactly.
public media
Public media.
communication.
Well, we learned to
There's a lot of
communicate
buzzwords in our
through the
degrees.
media. We learned to communicate through the media,
Through the media,
which
yeah.
was fantastic.
Through the media,
In a public way, in a way that is good for the public trust, which a lot of the media is not doing these days. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to communicate authentically here so that people can trust us.
We're kind of like.
That's why you can't tell people I'm a liar.
I'll tell people whatever I want, but
Okay.
like,
Oh, you can.
I'm not
You
gonna
can.
tell them because I'm a truth teller. Like
Yeah.
that's my role in this world.
Good.
Because I was put here to be like, this is what's happening, even if people are like, no, it's not, and be like, go wait, and then they'll find out.
Me too. That's
Yep.
what we're doing right here.
Exactly, telling
Yep.
the truth. But that's also why I think we were like almost like sleeper agents planted in our public media course to prepare us for this very moment.
Dude,
in
everybody
time.
in public media was a sleeper agent. That's a fact.
But we're being woken up now.
Everybody's waking up right now.
Everybody's popping the fuck off right now for good reason, and this is not a coincidence. It's because we learn all of this, a lot of things that I genuinely am one of those people that like I learned this in school.
Yeah.
Like when we talk now about like discourse and shit like that, about like where you source your information from and all this stuff, and I'm like, this is really relevant to life right now.
Absolutely.
And then I, in this body and in this character, have access to this.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Wow.
Time to tell.
You're like a video game character.
Basically.
Pretty
I was
much.
gonna say Avatar before, but I didn't know if that was too crazy.
No, it works. It works too. Now we have to go get brunch with all those people.
Speaking of,
I don't know if you've checked your watch, but we're a few minutes behind. Yeah, we're a few minutes behind. Anything you want to discuss before we wrap this up?
No. I'm just excited to see how this goes and who dies.
Somebody might die. Stay tuned.
Not me. Not me.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Kevin Talks to People, here with Christian Perez, sitting in the park. This is my first outdoor episode. I think it went pretty well. What do you think?
I think it went really well, Kevin. I'm very proud.
Absolutely. Stay tuned for more episodes. As long as I keep putting these out, you'll be able to listen to them.
That was fire.